Hey, what's up? It's Edward. Middle of Finland, snow, minus 49 degrees. Sun is shining, so I'm gonna be using my sunglasses today. But I thought we would record this video in this lovely location. There's something very interesting happening in the background every now and then. I hope you're going to notice. Also, I'm standing on a very thick layer of snow, so I may fall down at some point. I hope it's not gonna happen, but if it does, we are well prepared for it. So, let me put my sunglasses on. I'm going to be putting them on and off. Today we're talking about the concept called the right to be an introvert. I've recently had a conversation with one man who came to live to Finland from one southern country. He's been living in Germany for a while and he decided to move to Finland just because he's an introvert. Even though he's from a southern country, and many of us think that everybody who lives in the south is very talkative and is very like outgoing, and everybody's an extrovert. And even though it's kind of true that you have to be talkative if you live in the south, especially if it's not just south of Europe, but not everybody there is an extrovert. Because we are not always fixed as extroverts or introverts, and we keep shifting back and forth. So this man was saying about how amazing it is to be in Finland, where you don't have to just do anything and you can be whoever he wants. I'm just quoting him because people don't bother you. To be honest, people don't really care about you in Finland. But he worded it in a way that people don't bother you. And it's kind of true. So people in Finland don't bother you. You can do and be whatever you want, so long as you're not aggressive. But even if you're a little bit aggressive in a mind of a Finnish person, Finnish people are very kind of tolerant, very sisu, and they take in a lot of things. So you can be whoever you want to be here, and the country is going to be relaxing you. And the thing about Finland is, because it's relaxing you, you start to face your own fears. We already talked about that in another video of why a lot of foreigners move out of Finland, why they find it very hard to stay here for too long. But today's the subject is a bit different. So during the conversation, the idea of the right to be an introvert has arisen, meaning that nobody is touching you. And you can just go out for a walk or be in a public place and just be at peace. Now, it's not necessarily very good to kind of go too much into being an introvert or too much into being an extrovert, to the extent that you cannot be the other one. Being radical is not good. As we all know, the famous Master Yoda from Star Wars have said, only Siths think in absolute, Anakin. So don't be radical. And how radical, we know how radical extroversion looks. It's basically a person who has a verbal diarrhea, who cannot stop talking, and they talk as a way to escape their own pains, their own problems, instead of resolving them. So in that sense, introverts are more courageous than extroverts, because introverts face their own fears. But it's also not good to be a radical introvert to the extent that you're just being weird and basically harass other people by being weird and by making others feel uncomfortable in social situations where you need to be more extroverted. Like if you go out and you go to a shop and the interaction with a cashier makes you feel uncomfortable, well, that's not a very good thing, and you also got to put some work on yourself to become more balanced, so you're not radical. It's not good to be radical, no matter what kind of radicalism you're practicing. And while we need to be in the middle and we need to be balanced, it's very important to have the right to be whoever we want to be. That's what true liberalism is about. The right to be whoever you want to be without having a negative impact on other people. So when it comes to being an introvert, it's very important that where you exist, you can be quiet if you want. You don't have to talk to people if you want. you just, can kind of, just be in your own headspace if you want. And it's quite rare to find places like that in the world on the general societal level. Of course, if you live in some good neighborhood, or you live in a particular remote place, or in a little village, you can get it like on and off, not on and off, but you can get it there. But for an average person who lives in the city, it's quite hard to find. And turns out this is something that Finland helps a lot of introverts with, because, like, for example, people who live in the south, even though they're very talkative, but not all of them are extroverts and are enjoying like talking all the time. They just kind of got accustomed to it, and they are okay with that. But it would be better for them if they could act in an introverted way, because basically, as I said, there's no such thing as introvert or extrovert, because that's a very radical idea. We are all balanced, we all shift throughout life, and the only people who stay on the same level are the people who gave up on living and started slowly dying. Because we've already talked about that it's not good to make other people feel bad by being overly introverted, and it's not good to make other people feel bad by being overly extroverted. Because the whole point of extroversion is to make a positive emotional impact on another person or yourself, to the extent when that person feels sad or tense or lonely or just kind of too much in their own head. And then you just snap it out of that head. There's some very loud siren happening behind me, but don't worry, everything is fine. This is just an airport over here. So the whole point of being extrovert is to snap out people who are being kind of stuck in their own head and cannot come out of it by themselves, by making them laugh, by making them smile. That's it. But radical extroverts, what they are doing is that they have certain unresolved traumas of their own in their mind, and they feel tense and they feel uncomfortable, and what they're doing is that they're abusing other people, the niceness and kindness of other people, to escape their own problems. When in reality what they have to do is to go to a psychologist, talk about their problems so they can identify them and start resolving them, then also meditate and slowly become more introverted until, well, they either resolve all of their problems or until they become balanced, depending what's their goal. Like, ideally it's best to go all the way to be fully introverted and then come back to the middle, so you can be like extrovert or introvert depending on the situation. But for some people it's enough to just become balanced. Like, not everybody wants to do this like very hard work where you go all the way to be an introvert, because it takes time, it takes effort to slowly turn yourself from an extrovert to an introvert. And it takes the same amount of effort to slowly turn yourself from introvert to extrovert. That's why it's best to be in the middle, and it's actually very easy to find out if you are too much on one side or the other side, if you're being radical. There's a test, a personality test called Myers-Briggs test. Now, a lot of scientists, they discard it as inaccurate, because when you take this test over a certain period of time, multiple times, your results differ. But that's because a lot of scientists are not a lot, but those scientists, they are a little bit of like those crazy scientists from the horror movies of the 80s and 90s, and they think that human beings are fixed robots and we can only do one thing, and we don't change, and we do the same thing for our whole life, which is not true. Human beings are fluid. We change. That's what makes us different from a robot, from a machine, is that we change, because life is not just, it's not just a mathematical equation trying to balance itself out, as architects in The Matrix, I think Reloaded or Revolution movie has said. There's much more to life, and even though math plays a huge role to it, life is not fixed. So Myers-Briggs test lets you discover whether you are too radical on one side or the other, not just in terms of the way you approach life, whether you're an extrovert or an introvert, but also in the way that if you are more intuitive, or if you're more a thinking type of person, if you're more an action taker, or you're more like a planning and retrospective kind of person. And it really helps you to become balanced, because that's the only way how basically the society can live in peace, is that we are balanced and we can shift from one to another depending on the situation. You can't be always extroverted because you're gonna run out of energy. You can't be always introverted because you're not gonna get and achieve anything in life. And if we remain balanced, then we are able to interact with different types of people without causing any kind of discomfort or conflict or anything like that. Like I have to stress it one more time, like this time very explicitly. No, not extrovert and not introvert are better than the other one. It's bad to be a radical introvert, and it's bad to be a radical extrovert. Both radical extroverts harass introverts, radical introverts harass extroverts, make them feel uncomfortable, and they're like this, it's very obvious what is a radical extrovert, because everybody's talking about that. But what a radical introvert is the person. It's basically like a Dementor from Harry Potter, Prisoner of Azkaban movie, that sucks everything good out of you and leaves you empty and doesn't give anything back. That's what a radical introvert is. So if no matter who you are, an extrovert or an introvert, find balance so you can find peace. It's going to help you out a lot in life if you have not given up on it. And if you're subscribed to this channel, you definitely have not given up on it. If you're an introvert, don't be afraid to put effort over extended period of time to become more extroverted, to learn how to enjoy life. It's a very slow process. I'm not going to explain how this whole thing works. I was born in Finland. I was very introverted, and I was also very extroverted. I was this person talking all the time. Now I'm basically balanced. I can be whoever I want. This doesn't make me better, doesn't make me worse, but what it proves is that it's very easy. It makes life much easier when you can be both. Because if I was like extreme introvert, I wouldn't be recording these videos. If I was extreme extrovert, I would just dislike and discard all of the introverts as being inferior beings who are worse than me and stuff like that. So, don't be afraid to change, because that's a part of life. The only thing that it takes to become more extroverted or more introverted, like to become more extroverted if you're introverted, or to become more introverted if you're extroverted, is just time and effort, and you need to have a desire and a reason to do so. So you have to discover it first. You have to have a purpose in life towards which you're going, and then you adjust yourself, you adjust your personality by taking action to adjust it, so that you can get to that destination at some point and become whoever you want to be and achieve whatever you want to achieve. This is what happens when you record at the temperatures that are below zero. The camera battery can just die out, but I've said everything that I wanted to say for the video, so I hope it was useful for you. If it was, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Share your thoughts in the comments, and if I can help you somehow, feel free to reach out to me in Telegram or Instagram. Links are down in the description if you want to become more extroverted, if you want to become more introverted, or if you want to talk about some other things that you think I can help you with. Send me a message and let's chat. It's been Edward. I'll see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.